Buddy L.
Hey, guy. Hey, great to see you. Guess what?
Ah,
You have to actually press the button to go live to go live. So we just went live.
oh, we weren't live before.
we
Well,
thought we were, but now we really are. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. This is John Simmerman with the Active Towns Initiative and the Active Towns podcast. And that guy right over there, that is Ryan Van Duzer. Good to see you.
My screen is frozen.
Your screen is closed.
Just kidding, it's not. It's not.
Ah, I hate
Look
you.
what I wore for you.
Yeah, don't do that. Eh,
I ran a race in this yesterday.
that's crazy. Oh, hold on just a second. I'm going to do one thing here just to keep things a little less chaotic. There we go. So you did run a race yesterday. That was in Boulder. Tell us a little bit about that, man.
It was the Super Santa 5K. I'd never done it before, and I just love doing small town, community events. I love seeing the runners out. It's not about going fast. It's just about fun. And so I thought I'd jump in. I jumped in last minute.
That's fantastic.
Oh, I just remembered. I have really cool shoes I'm wearing too.
There you go. Cool. Yeah, your shoes.
Yeah.
The old Converses.
Converse.
Well, we just got a quick message here from Fark in the Netherlands, and apparently this is called the bad sweater day. So in the Netherlands.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep, that's awesome.
We do love our bad sweaters.
Yes. Good stuff. Hey, and Vicky is chiming in here too. There in Boulder. Yes, it's an awesome holiday shirt. This is a Ren Spooner, one of my favorite holiday shirts. So absolutely love it. So anyways, hey, Ryan, thank you so much for doing this. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to connect. The last time we recorded anything together was in September of 2020. Ooh, way back then, 2020.
That's a long time ago.
And so we did get to see each other in person in September of this year. But yeah, 2020 was a heck of a year, obviously. And you and I and folks, I encourage you to go back and watch that podcast video. It was a wonderful encapsulation of some of the stuff that Ryan was able to accomplish with his channel in the midst of the 2020 pandemic and all the craziness that existed, prior to the vaccine and all of that. But 2021, big year.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the pandemic's still raging. Things are getting really bad once again. We're getting all vaccinated and doing that, but you never know. Viruses are wacky little things and they change all the time.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what 2021 has been like for you.
Well, like everybody, I was really excited for 2021. Coming off of 2020. 2020 was just like, unprecedented, really. And we all wanted a fresh start. And I was one of those people. And, I am a YouTuber. I create content. I go outside. I travel. I wasn't able to travel as much in 2020. So I was looking forward to more of that this year in 2021. And overall, it's actually been a very good year for me. People are at home more. They're looking for content to watch online. They're sick of Netflix. They've watched everything on all the streaming channels. So they go over hopefully, and find my channel and watch some inspiring bike or ultra running videos. And the goal of my channel is just to inspire people to get outside at whatever athletic ability you are. And so my channel actually has benefited from the pandemic in a weird, sad way. More people are online looking for stuff. And number two, there's been a worldwide bicycle boom. People are buying bikes all over the world because it's a safe, fun activity to do outside and socially distance. And so people buy these bikes and they go online and they look for content. And they found my channel. So it's been a great year, and I've produced a lot of videos that I'm really proud of. And, I hope to continue doing it in 2022.
Yeah. I like
I
that.
love the elf. Thank you, elf.
And the elf, comes in and does that. We'll try to make sure that he doesn't do that each and every time. But then again, he seems to be a fan favorite, so
Yeah.
possibly. So hey, one of the things that I wanted to ask you was that, well, first, do you know how many videos that you did this year?
I don't, but I know that I made one a week for sure, and then some weeks I had two. So I'm guessing a bit more than 50-ish.
Yeah,
Yeah, so a lot of videos.
60.
Oh, you counted for me.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Were you testing me? If I had said
I
120,
might
you'd
have
been
I
like,
might
you
have
are a liar.
miscounted or missed one. So you
Yeah.
never know. But yeah, no, and that's very productive. I mean, I try to put one podcast out per week, and I've forced myself to give a couple of breaks. But yeah, somewhere around 48 to 50 podcasts, in a year.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and turning around a video of the quality that you're doing. Talk a little bit about that process. I mean, this is not that easy to just, slam these things out because
Mhm.
you're also on the road so much.
Yeah.
So, talk a little bit about how do you do
So,
this, Ryan?
yeah, first of all, this is my full-time job. A lot of people think YouTubers have real jobs and they just do this as a hobby. And some people might, but this is way too much work to do as a hobby. When I'm out there doing an adventure filming, I'm using three different cameras and a drone, and I come back with tons of footage. And I'm essentially putting together, like a TV show, like a 20-minute show every week. And I try to, put all the different elements of the cameras in there and music and color correction and all the other things that you don't really notice as a viewer, but it definitely makes the videos look better. And I always want my content to look and be high quality. I want people to actually watch this stuff and be inspired or moved in some way or something. So it's not just straight webcams. This is a full time production house over here at Duzer TV Studios, and I absolutely love it. It's a dream come true.
Apparently we get the applause each and every time.
I like
So
it.
how long does I mean, obviously this isn't a fair question because I do enough of the editing myself to know, but on average, how long does it take you to produce a video for that weekly routine?
If I have all of the footage and it's logged into my computer and I just edit,
Mhm.
that usually takes about 2 days, 2 full days to make one 20-minute video. And
Right.
I have my process is pretty streamlined. I have my formulas. I've been doing it so long that I can put it all together fairly fast. Most people are shocked at how quickly I put together these videos because it is a lot of work. But I come from a journalist background, working for the newspaper in Boulder, where you go out and film something, and it needs to be done immediately. It's news, and so I got really good years ago at editing fast, putting a story together fast, but still have it be high quality.
Right. Yeah. Got it. Um, and so yeah, so being able to put these out on that regular. Do you have a favorite from this year?
The video I just put out on Sunday, which was yesterday, I really enjoyed editing that video. And that's the joy of editing, is you get to relive the experience. Of course, I love it when I'm out there in the moment on an adventure, seeing beautiful things. But then I get to come back and see that footage again and put it together and add music and add a bit of like emotion to it. And so this last video I made, it includes some of the most stunning drone footage I've ever filmed of the Grand Canyon. I was camped literally 20 feet from the rim of the Grand Canyon on the Navajo side of the canyon, and it was absolutely stunning sunset light, and it was really fun to put together.
That's great. Yeah, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna actually pull up
Oh wow, look at you did it.
some of that. So
Look at that.
yeah,
It
and
was not
it was
snowing.
snowing then
It
too.
was snowing. Yeah, I don't know how the drone was flying in the snowstorm, but it did it. And there's my
So
buddy John.
Yes, there's John and Mira. So tell us a little bit about John and Mira, because these are good buds of yours.
Yeah, they have become fan favorites on the channel. I met John and Mira when I was riding the Baja Divide in January 2020, so before the pandemic. And I was just out there by myself, and John rolled up to my campsite, and he knew who I was because he had watched my videos. And we just started talking, and he's like, "Hey, do you mind if we ride with you for a bit?" I'm like, "Sure, let's do it." And so I got to know them really well for about a week of riding in Baja together. And of course, I fell in love with Mira immediately. She's one of the most incredible dogs I've ever met in my life. Everybody who watches my channel will know that Mira is special. She is different. So we did Baja, then we stayed in touch, and then we also did about a month together on the Great Divide route from Montana to about Colorado in 2020. And then we tried to get together this year, but he was up in Canada, borders were closed. I couldn't get there, he couldn't get here. So finally, we met up in southern Utah because he was able to cross the border after it opened up in late September and ride across.
That's so cool. That's
Yeah.
what is he doing there?
It's funny. What is he doing at a gas station? He's filling up his little camp stove. 30 cents for a
Ah,
little can of gas that lasts for quite a long time. I
right,
wouldn't know because I don't travel with the stove.
right, right.
There
Yeah,
he is buying all the goodies.
Jacob saved a mouse. Way to go, Jacob. That's awesome. So yeah, you don't travel with the stove. So talk a little bit about your nutrition, and how you go about that.
Well, if you watch my channel, you know that I love beans. And beans are a lot of protein and carbohydrates, and they're easy to pack. If you're in Mexico, you can buy beans in a little bag, which is easy to pack. In the States, they don't really have a whole lot of bagged beans. Oh, there's Mira. Oh, I
There
love her.
she is. I love this view too. She's done this a few times on your various videos that
Yeah,
you've produced. I love
she
that
does.
look. Oh,
Just loves it. Yeah, so actually right now we're, fueling up at a little gas station here on the side of the road. And so
yeah.
yeah, I eat a lot of tortillas and beans and energy bars, and I try to buy, almonds and nuts and healthy stuff when I can, but when you're riding out in the middle of nowhere, unfortunately, there's a lot of just bad quality food out there. There's so many food deserts in the United States. And so it's tough to eat healthy sometimes. And also, when you're starving and you've been riding all day, the human body just craves, sugars and fats. And so you walk into a gas station after riding for 8 hours, you should grab the banana, but you're probably grabbing ice cream and candy bars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I just sort of fast forwarded the video a little bit to get you off of your Pilates workout on the ground there that you were doing, and get you guys off of the road too, because you had a little bit of asphalt on that particular segment on here. Talk a little bit about where are you going and what was the circumstances with this. And folks, this is literally the video that went live yesterday.
Yeah, so 30 hours ago. This is a cool moment. We don't know exactly where we're going. We've been told that there's a campsite that we can camp at on Navajo land right on the edge of the canyon. And we had to get special permits to be on this land. It's Navajo, so it's considered private land. And if you just go out there, it's trespassing. So we had to get permits in advance. And there's also designated campsites where you can only camp. I can't just say, oh, there's a nice flat piece of ground, I'm going to stay there. And we obviously wanted to really respect the Navajo Nation. So we rode all the way to this campsite called Rocky Point at the edge of the Grand Canyon. And we will be there in about a few seconds here in the video, and you will see it was mind blowing. I mean, I'd seen the Grand Canyon before. It had been many, many years. And right now we are heading toward the Grand Canyon. When I was actually flying this, I didn't quite know that it was right there. I mean, it's literally right there. And it was mind blowing. It was beautiful. And it was sunset light and just stunning. And man, there we go. We're getting a little bit closer, a little bit closer. And you will see exactly where my campsite was. And I've had some great campsites in my life. This one's either number one or number two. I've had another great campsite in Baja, Mexico that I really loved, right on a cliff overlooking the ocean. And now I'm looking at John. I'm like, oh my God, do you see this? And I put my bike down and I want to show the viewers what I'm seeing. And I pull up and boom,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at that. I mean, that is just, it's awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often.
Yeah. Um, has he seen this footage, or is he able
Yeah.
to see it? Okay.
So he just saw it yesterday.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, he was like, "Wow, man, you got some great footage."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's really fun to share this moment. There's been some times I've been alone on these bike trips,
Right.
and I like being alone. It's great, but I don't have anybody to share it with. We actually got to share this magical moment.
Right.
And here we go with the drone, and this is when it turns into Planet Earth right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Discovery shows. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Exactly.
And I hope the viewers really enjoy this drone footage because I lost my drone a few days later.
Oh. Okay.
With all of my footage, and this is the last footage. I switched out my cards
Right.
that night, and I'm so glad I have this footage. I mean, just look at that.
Yeah. So aspiring videographers and drone footage aficionados, lesson learned by Ryan is what?
Switch out your card almost every day.
Yeah.
And I usually do it, but I was getting a little loosey-goosey, and I was in the desert. And usually when you're in the desert, there aren't a lot of risks because you're not going to hit trees or get your drone caught in trees. It's just wide open.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got caught. So yeah, film your footage, your amazing footage, and swap out your card every single day so that if you do lose your drone,
Right.
you're only losing the drone and not your footage. I don't really care about losing the drone. It's a bummer. It's $600.
Right.
But it's the footage that really is priceless.
Yeah, exactly. And truth be told, you've gone through several drones over the years.
Yes, I have. Drones are finicky little things.
Yeah.
They are amazing when they work. Sometimes they don't work, and they can fly off. They have a mind of their own, and they're just tricky to fly sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah,
Santa's going to get me a new drone for Christmas.
Oh, well, there you go. That's that's what Santa's there for.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of my favorite videos of yours from this past year, and certainly just the fact that you were able to reconnect with John and Mira, that just made us smile. Both Laura and I, we watch your videos on Sundays and all of that, and I'd be interested to hear what everybody else is thinking too. So we are monitoring the comments, so don't be shy. Go ahead and put comments out there, and also if you have any questions, again, I'll put this up there. Just put a Q in front of the question. That way, I can hit the search button on there, and your questions will actually pop up. And no, you're not seeing every comment that's gone through, although I'm trying to keep track of them as they go through. And in fact, the Garden Stater, you had said, yes, so festive. We're trying to be festive. Ryan, you're always festive.
I like being festive. I like the holidays. I like Halloween. I like just getting into traditions.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm kind of, thinking back to some of the other things that you did this past year, and I'm glancing down at the iPad here so I can kind of see what's going on. Yeah, you put so much stuff out this year. It was hard to keep up. You raced the Leadville 100 this year, running, not the mountain bike, running.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, because not only are you just racing these things or participating in these things, you film yourself the entire time. Talk a little bit about that.
So first off, a PR company reached out to me. They asked if I wanted to do the Leadville 100. And in my mind, that was the running race. But they're like, no, we mean the mountain bike race. And I was like, no, I don't want to do the mountain bike race. I want to do the running race. And they're like, well, that is crazy. But if that's what you want to do, okay, you can do the running race. And yes, I have filmed a lot of ultras while I'm running. I carry a little stick with like a GoPro on it. And people often say, don't you think you could go a lot faster if you weren't talking to a camera? And I don't know, what's good about having a camera there, and it's a distraction. So sometimes when I'm in a lot of pain, I can look at the camera and talk about what's going on, and it helps keep my mind like on something different. It kind of distracts me from the absolute pain. It's kind of like having a friend there to talk to. And I try to show the viewers all aspects of the experience, not just the good parts. So at Leadville, I had a really tough final 20 miles. My body just kind of shut down. Every step was excruciatingly painful, and I wanted to talk about that. I wanted the viewers to know what I was going through, because this is what happens in ultras. You fall apart and you come back together and you have a triumphant finish sometimes, or you don't. And yeah, so that's kind of how Leadville went. It was an amazing experience. I loved it. There were people all along the course. Twin Lakes was full of thousands of people, and it was really fun. I know it's a legendary race. Most people found out about Leadville through the book Born to Run, and it is indeed a quite an experience.
Absolutely. And I'm going to pull up our iPad here again. This is the video that I wanted to show.
Oh,
So this, and I'm not going to show the whole thing because it's nearly 2 hours.
oh, okay, sweet. I'll get some popcorn.
This is your opus.
Yeah. And it's funny. I didn't think it would be.
Yeah.
I had been getting comments and questions from viewers saying, "Hey, can you make some long, really long cuts of your rides so we can watch them while we are on our exercise bikes?" I was like, "Okay, I never thought of that," because as a YouTuber, as a storyteller, you always think make it as short as possible. Cut out all the fat and just put in the best of the best of the best. And that's how most content is created, whether it's TV or movies. And this is the full story of the Great Divide Experience. I had made an entire 30 episode series documenting every single day of the ride. And so I put this all together, smushed it all together. In total, it was like 8 hours of footage. I smushed it all down to 2 hours. And another interesting thing is I pulled out all of the music and left in just natural sounds. And the idea with that was to put the viewer there on the bicycle. So they're hearing the things that I'm hearing. They're not being manipulated by some dramatic music or something. And I made this video. I had no idea how it would be received because I've never made a video this long. And for some reason, it got sucked into the YouTube algorithms, and it now has 1.5 million views. It's crazy.
Yeah, I just checked on it. It was like 1.6 million views.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And I don't know, maybe there is a desire for some of this longer content. And to be clear, I mean, this is you had footage, you had done a series of these, and we watched each of those those videos each week as you were putting them out. And but yeah, it clearly resonated with folks, and they jumped in and did that. Now, is that your most watched video ever?
Yes. I made this wasn't on my channel. You probably remember this. Remember this? Back in 2011, I made the stuff cyclists say video,
Hmm.
and that was for people for bikes, and that was just a
Right.
short 5-minute video, and that video went viral immediately,
Yeah.
and it has well over 1 million views. But for my channel, for sure, this is the most views I've ever gotten on my channel. And it really boosted my channel because people who had never seen any of my videos are all of a sudden being served this up in your suggested videos, and they check this out, and they a lot of the comments I got in the video was, "There's no way I'm watching this for 2 hours," and then I watched it for 2 hours. Thank you. you know
Yeah.
um, so it was a surprise. It was a good surprise. And after I did this, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back and re-edit all of my long trips that I had broken down into episodes and segments, and make long cuts. And those other videos have done well, but none of them have gone viral like this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very interesting observation too, and I'm trying to think of some of the other videos that I've seen this year that you have produced that seem like they've done quite well, and certainly bike packing is hot right now.
Yeah, bike packing is really cool. People are looking at ways to explore and ride their bikes. And so bike packing bags and gear, that's a whole new industry. And I've always been a bike traveler, usually, bike touring, as we call it, where it's just on roads, where you're not on dirt. And it's a completely different kind of set of bags for that because you're not bumping around and jostling. So bike packing bags are quite a bit different. They're much more streamlined onto your bike. And so it's a different thing. I love bike packing because it gets me off the roads. I don't like cars. I think there's way too much distracted driving going on, and I just don't trust people anymore. So I feel much safer on roads that you're seeing right now in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. The again more extraordinary, beautiful scenery that we have here. So folks, if you're new to to Ryan's channel, yeah, you definitely have to check out this content. It's absolutely gorgeous. And talk a little bit about how you're able to capture the different images that you have, because you can definitely see the difference. Obviously, this is drone, but then there's a difference between on the bike and some of those other beauty shots that you see there.
Yeah. So a lot of people think I film everything with a GoPro, because they think GoPros for adventure and that's what he must be using.
Right.
And so I do use a GoPro, but I also love getting the beauty shots. And you need like a higher quality camera for that, where I'm focused in on the flowers or whatever, and there's depth of field. GoPros are great, but they're just wide. You can't do anything else but wide. And the picture is not nearly as good as some of the other. Maybe we'll see something pop up here and I'll show you an example. This is all GoPro. That right there is a camera on a tripod, which is my Sony RX100 Mark 7, which is a long name. And then there's, of course, the drone. And I like to mix together these three angles because it really helps the viewer kind of feel the experience more than it just being a big wide shot.
Right.
And
Right.
I like the close-ups with my Sony camera because it gives the viewer a little bit of texture, and they can almost like smell the flowers or the bees. And it's, when I'm out there riding my bike 80 or 90 miles, I'm constantly stopping and setting up the tripod, or I see a beautiful, field of flowers and I go, okay, I'm going to go over there and film those flowers. And so I'm putting all these different elements into every video, and it's a ton of work. It's hard enough to ride 80 or 90 miles a day on a bike, but when you're stopping constantly and flying a drone and doing everything else, it definitely adds to the time. There will be like a shot like this. You see the little focus in the background's a little blurry. So this is my nice quality camera. GoPro could never do this.
Right. Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's interesting too, because when you watch your videos, you can see that process of the fact that you do take the time, set the camera up on the tripod, go back, ride towards it, go past it, turn around, go back, pick it up. It's like you said, it's a lot of work to go through that process to get those shots.
Absolutely. But it's worth it. It makes the
Yeah.
videos a lot better.
Yeah.
And I feel at this point I have a big audience. I owe it to the audience to actually be getting all these different shots. There will be moments where I'm riding and I'm tired and I'm like, oh, I really don't want to like stop and film. But I'm like, you know what? This is my job now. This is what I do. I need to put in the effort. And when I put in the effort, it makes editing it way more fun, and it makes it a lot more fun to watch it too. Like these shots right here. This is all the beauty camera.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. So when you look back at 2021, especially in the context of how brutal 2020 was for doing what you do, what are some of the things that bubble up to the top? What are some of the emotions? What are some of the feelings that you have?
For me, I love connecting with the humans I meet on my adventures. And I think that's the most important aspect of any travel adventure. For me, I love connecting with humans. Sure, I love pushing my body. I love the physical challenge. I love seeing beautiful sunsets and rainbows, but it's really the people. And, everywhere I've ever been on this planet, I've met wonderful humans. And if you watch the nightly news, it scares you. It's scary. They kind of show the worst of the worst sometimes, and that strangers are bad and don't trust anybody. And that's not the experience that I have out there, nor anybody who travels. They know what it's like to be out there. And so, traveling this year was a lot of fun coming out of the pandemic, going on adventures again, and meeting people and sharing stories with these people. And it's not like I meet them and that's it. Like a lot of the, if you watch my channel, you'll see I'll interview somebody and then I ride off. But there's a lot of times I stay in touch with all of these humans long after I'm gone. And so, my Christmas card list is very long because I'm always meeting people. And this is a good example right here. I was on, again, a piece of the Navajo Nation. This is in New Mexico. It was the windiest day of my life ever on a bike. I mean, I was literally getting blown over. And this man right here, Herbert, drove up on his truck, saw that I was in a little bit of distress, and said, "Hey, you can come camp at our house. We'll take care of you."
Yeah.
And I went to his house and met his whole family, and it was a magical experience.
Yeah. And this happens to you a lot. What do they call it when you're out there on the trail and stuff like this happens?
Trail magic is what they call it.
Yeah.
And a lot of viewers, they will write, they're like, "Man, you always meet amazing people. Like, what is it? What are you doing to like meet them?" Like, and I'm not really doing anything special. And that's why I say, like, if you leave your house, if you get outside, something magical is going to happen.
Yeah.
No matter what the situation is, things are going to happen. And when you put yourself out there and you take some risks and you do things like this, it makes the world feel a lot smaller and a lot safer. Like, again, going back to the nightly news, the news is scary, but if you're just out there traveling in whatever form you're traveling, it doesn't have to be on a bike. I think we realize very quickly that most humans are very similar in a lot of ways, and we all, want to take care of one another.
Yeah. Yeah. And I chuckle a bit too at the number of times you're out there and you'll just randomly, run into viewers.
Yeah, yeah. That's happened a lot more lately. My channel, and it's only been the last 2 years where my channel's been fairly big. For the longest time, my channel was small and I never actually met people who watched my channel except for my mom and a couple other friends. But nowadays, when I'm out there, yeah, it's crazy. I sometimes forget how many people watch my videos, and that anywhere I've ever been, there's somebody out there that knows who I am. And so when I was on the Colorado Trail this summer, I met tons of people that were like, "Oh my God, it's you!" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up? I'm a real guy." And it makes me happy. And usually these encounters are very sweet, and they tell me some sort of a story of how they found my videos and it has inspired them to ride their bikes more, get outside. And that is the goal with my channel. I didn't go into YouTube to make tons of money and be famous. I went into YouTube to tell stories that I felt were bringing value to the world and that could help people. And so when I meet real people who say your videos changed my life, that's worth $1 million right there.
Yeah, I'm going to pull this up here real quick. This is just kind of on your channel here, and it's sorted by the date. And I just wanted to pull this up to also point out that you will also produce videos that are helpful in the sense that here's one, an education on your carbon gates, your gates carbon belt fail that happened, and then how to set up your bike packing bike. This is the Priority 600X that you helped design, but then you also have a video in here about your excuse me, that's where I wanted to go. A video in here about the food that you use. And so you're also doing some really cool how-to stuff. And there's some context to this. I mean, you've been doing like how I do grocery shopping by bike videos and other types of videos like this for a long time. So it's not just all adventures. Sometimes you're sprinkling in these helpful ones too. Talk a little bit about that process and when you feel like now's the time, I got to get this one out.
Yeah, these types of videos are, very useful to people because people sometimes will specifically type in, "What gear do I need to ride across the country?" You know, and because they don't know anything, maybe they're total rookies. And so I have made videos like this where I go through every piece of equipment. And I'm not really a gearhead. I'm I'm not a techie guy. So these videos are kind of difficult for me because I'll be talking about something and I'll be like, this is great because it's great, but I can't really tell you a whole lot more than that. People want to know about the materials and how much it weighs and if it's titanium or aluminum and all these things. So, I try my best to help people with what I know, and sometimes I talk about food or nutrition and other things like that because the goal is to inspire people to go out and challenge themselves. But if they don't have the knowledge with how to do it, then they're probably not going to do it. And so that's why I make these videos.
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. And I noticed that many of them are quite popular too. So
Yeah,
they're
well, yeah, those
clearly
videos
resonating. Yeah.
they're always the most popular because, like I said, they're high, traffic search terms.
That's a good point.
Nobody is
Yeah.
specifically typing in, Ryan Van Duzer, John Mira, Grand Canyon Adventure.
Right.
That it's just kind of a vague, experiential adventure video. But a lot of people are typing in, what tires do I need for the Baja Divide or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So before I ask you about the future, I wanted to just pause and take a moment to reflect a little bit about some of the stuff that I was able to do this past year. And I unfortunately didn't get out and travel much. I did make it over to Indianapolis for the Walk Bike Places conference and have that opportunity to profile the Indy Cultural Trail, which is just an absolutely amazing bicycle facility, bike ped facility in the downtown Indianapolis area. It's fantastic. And I'm going to pull up our two-person thing here so you guys can see, kind of what we've got going on over on my channel here. And yeah, so I did this particular video, which really kind of highlights just some amazing footage, and you could just kind of get a sense of it. It's like a little slice of the Netherlands right here in middle America. So if you have a chance, make sure you check out this video out on my channel. And it's, I think, one of the gems that are out there because it also sort of exemplifies that we can redefine our street space. The way that Indianapolis was able to do this was they literally took a motor vehicle lane away from the streetscape and then created this incredibly wonderful, facility, which is an all ages and abilities, facility that really helps, get people moving, get people out. And it's such a huge asset to the community. I literally just this week, yesterday, got a YouTube message, about that particular video. He said that, yeah, I came to Indianapolis for college to go to the university, and I decided to stay because that trail and just really revitalized the area. Such an important part. Boulder's a lot like that too. In terms of the amazing, especially the off-street facilities that exist in the pathways. Talk a little bit about that. How impactful has that been? Because you've spent your whole life in Boulder.
Yeah, born and raised in Boulder. I've never had a car, so I ride my bike everywhere I go. And I really appreciate that Boulder, from a long time ago, has put a lot of effort into creating protected bike lanes and bike paths all over the city to make it easy to get around. And we live in a climate that's pretty mild. Of course, we have some winters that get cold, but for the most part, you can ride your bike almost every day in Boulder. Minneapolis has awesome bike infrastructure and it's freezing cold for a lot of the year. So I am so happy with what cities are finally doing. They're finally getting pushed by people to actually put in some pedestrian infrastructure. Our country was built on the highway system and cars, cars, cars. And finally, we're like, no, this is such a benefit to the community to have these things and bike paths and a healthy population. And, I always tell people, like, think back to some of the best memories of your life. And I guarantee it's when you were a kid and you were learning how to ride a bike and you felt that feeling of freedom. And we kind of forget that once we turn 16 and get cars. But I love that more people are riding now and there's safer places for people to ride, not just in Boulder and cities that are, typical, bike cities like Portland and Davis, but there's actually some places where, cities you wouldn't guess are really putting in some money into infrastructure, like Indianapolis.
Yeah. And Boulder continues to fine tune. Is a video that I also produced earlier this year that really highlighted some of the new infrastructure that was in place. And so this particular one was a critical underpass that
Oh yeah, I
was,
love this new underpass.
yeah, yeah. I mean, do you remember the bridge?
Oh yeah, I love the bridge too. Actually, the bridge was really cool. It's really steep and it went over the highway. It was a cool vantage point, but this is much better.
Yeah, this is much safer. That bridge, pretty sketchy, especially on cold, windy, icy days.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah, no,
good.
I love it. That's what it looked like. There we go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I try. In fact, those are my photos. I actually, pulled them out of my archive because I had them from years ago. So
Wow, that's cool. You never knew that you were gonna like use those someday in a YouTube
absolutely,
video.
absolutely. And there's a good example. I mean, there's a young girl making her way either to school or to go to soccer practice or to go see a friend, and that's why it's so important to build all ages and abilities facilities, to get more people feeling comfortable out there on their bikes.
And I truly believe if young people get on bikes and they love it, they're going to stick with it for the rest of their lives. So the more young people we can get hooked on bikes, the better, And I think it's working. I meet 15, 16-year-olds now that are like, I'm not going to get my license. And I've actually read articles about how young people aren't as eager to get their licenses as they once were, which I'm like, whoop, whoop, yes, less cars, more bikes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you. I hear you. Now, and let's talk about the other range on the all ages and abilities. It's important to have safe infrastructure for older adults too.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about your mom and the fact that she's getting out there and riding more these days.
Totally. So my mom never rode a bike ever when I was a kid. It just wasn't part of what she did. Like she was like most Americans, she drove her car to work. And then I started getting way into bikes, and she would watch me go off on these adventures and do that. But it was always like, that's Ryan's thing. I'm not a biker. I'm not a cyclist. And the thing is, you don't have to be a cyclist or an athlete to be a commuter. And so 3 years ago, I got my mom an e-bike, and it's changed her life in the sense that she can now ride with me. Whereas before, there's no way she could keep up with me. But now she on an e-bike, she can go faster than me. And she has a little panniers on the back, and she goes to her workout classes at the YMCA and puts her clothes in the back and goes to the grocery store and all that fun stuff. And it's not just my mom. I see a lot of people her age getting e-bikes and absolutely falling in love with them. And, I get texts and emails from people like, oh my God, I rode my e-bike 5,000 miles this year, which is amazing. This is what we want. And again, the bikes are great, but we need safe places to ride the bikes. And in a lot of cities like Boulder, that's happening. And so people are riding to work and riding to wherever they go, whereas before they would drive their car.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. And it's a combination of being able to get meaningful trips in, as well as getting out and having some fun and getting some fresh air, and it's good for you too. Here we got a response from one of our audience members here. Doug says that I could have, if I needed additional photos, apparently I could get some crowdsourced from the Mapillary platform.
Oh,
Thanks, Doug. That's awesome.
Mapillary.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And back when we were with the Navajo family, the Garden Staters, it says, "Aw, what a cute pup." That was a cute pup for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. That was a great experience. That was one of the highlights of my year for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's, like I said, it's those moments that makes me want to continue traveling.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
just my bike, but just in general. Like I love meeting people. It's the best part.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Let's see. Jacob actually is chiming in here too. He says he did 3,400 kilometers on his e-bike in 11 years. Okay.
Right on, Jacob. What kind of last name is Bax? Is that Dutch? Maybe?
Yeah, I think
Never
Jacob, Jacob, I believe is one of my Patreon supporters, and you have a
Oh,
Patreon page too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nice, Jacob.
Exactly. And yeah, thank you so much to everybody who is out there who is supporting Active Towns on Patreon and supporting Ryan on Patreon. Seriously, we can't do this content creation without your support, so it really means a great deal. So absolutely. All right. So, oh, I know. I'm going to put this one up too. There's another comment from Doug. He had a little additional thing to say, so I'll leave that up there.
Yeah. Right on.
And let's see. We're gonna.
This is what I love about YouTube and these audiences is we get to interact with people and we're
Yeah.
learning too. We're not the experts. I learn from my audience all the time
Yeah.
about all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
And, I know they go to my channel thinking that I'm the expert and I might be well versed in some areas, but it's
Yeah.
great to have this community. Like it really is a community.
Yeah. That's great. And we are sort of in the closing minutes of our broadcast here. So I wanted to bring in a couple of friends. Dom Nazi was on earlier. I lost his feed, but I'm going to bring Trini Willerton in. Ryan, you know Trini.
Oh yeah.
There's
Hello.
Trini.
Hi.
Hi there.
How are you guys?
You
We're
have a
doing.
reindeer waving at you. Oh, he's gone
Oh,
now.
that's so cool.
Trini, now you're also in Boulder, correct?
Hmm.
Fantastic. That's great. Great. And Trini is the founder of a nonprofit called It Could Be Me. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Oops,
Well,
we're.
we kind of got broken. Is that me or is that
I think somebody else came in. If you can mute your phone, that would be great, or your computer. Okay, go ahead.
okay? All right. Well, I live in Boulder, and yeah, we were 501c3 as of this summer. We've had a lot of work, and we have a lot of people join us. We are very, very grateful to have joined this coalition with Vision Zero, and that has been very exciting and a great learning experience for me and for all of the ambassadors that have gotten involved. But yeah, we are basically trying to change the narrative out there, right? Trying to remind motorists that we are all human, right? And we're also a community of crash survivors, unfortunately. And we have used our voice to make sure that this that happened to us doesn't happen to others. And that's where that coalition that I was speaking about comes into place. We have been reaching out to Congress members around the country to get support on House Resolution 565, which is the zero traffic deaths resolution. And we've gotten a great response. I mean, I've led over 25 meetings at this point, and the response has always been positive. It's just really, really encouraging and exciting. And yeah, I mean, we've met people from all across the country, as it could be me and as myself. And so it's been really, really cool. And it's exciting to see that people are ready for change and that they're ready to do whatever it takes to bring that about.
Yeah, yeah. And specifically, several years ago, a couple years ago, when you launched this, it was primarily a campaign for individuals to be able to communicate out to their friends and family through social media, and they put together a video. And I think Ryan, you put together a video. I put together a video, and
Mhm.
it talk a little bit more about how and why you decided to do it that way. What was the purpose or the reason why you thought it was important to make it that personal appeal?
Well, I started, I'm a crash survivor myself. For those of you that don't know, I was, shocked to learn that there were so many things that needed to change. And when I just couldn't understand this whole dynamic of us versus them that we experience when we're out on the roads, whether we're pedestrians or we're cyclists. I mean, it just seems that people, when they get behind the wheel of a car, they just kind of change. And I wanted to see why. So I started doing some research. I found some studies that really that determined that motorists stop looking at other users of the road as human. So I figured that perhaps if they could see a little bit more about what makes us us, not just the person out there running or that person that, unfortunately, when you're on a bike, most of the time we're wearing sunglasses to shield our eyes, whether it's from the sun or for just debris. We're wearing a helmet, we're wearing things that really kind of disguise us and hide our identities. And so it just becomes this anonymous body out there. And so I was trying to kind of change that and just make sure that people remembered that it could be someone's mom or it could be someone's teacher, and simultaneously have that empathy. So by creating these videos and by sharing them with their own friends and family, I was hoping to get out of our little like echo chamber and reach those motorists that perhaps were not being so kind out there, that perhaps were our relatives, And
Yeah.
when they saw my video, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I had not realized that that could be Trini, or that could be Ryan, or that could be John," And
Yeah.
hopefully,
And Doug just chimed in, and I pulled those comments up that he had been hit right there in Boulder at Colorado and Folsom, and he was a pedestrian at the time. He wasn't on a bike, and so it could be me. It is really striving to rehumanize all vulnerable roadway users. So whether you're on a bike, in a wheelchair, on a bike, or walking. And really striving to, like you said, break down those barriers. It's not an us versus them thing. We're all humans. We're all people. And hey, hashtag streets are for people.
mhm.
It's there for
Yes.
all of us. Yeah.
No, and the more I learn about how the roads are structured, and all these multiple things that have come into place, unfortunately, years after years, and we have kind of made our society based on our cars. It's such a car centric society that we live in, and we have to kind of shift our way of thinking and understand that for many many reasons, for our health, for our planet, for just the good of our children. I mean, we need to be more active, we need to be outside, and we need to be feeling safe, and we need the infrastructure for that to be supported. And I think there's many many exciting things happening right now. I think our government is really getting behind us, and we have amazing leaders that actually speak like advocates, and that's really really, I know that I've said really so many times, but it's really, really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think things are changing, and I think finally we'll start seeing.
Yeah.
Um,
And we have a long way to go. I mean, we have folks on the broadcast here from the Netherlands, and we have a long way to go. But 50 years ago, in the Netherlands in the 1970s, I mean, it was very car centric, and they had a huge upheaval, and gradually, decade after decade, year after year, they started to get become safer, more inviting places. And so we have a lot of work to do. And I thank you so very very much for bringing It Could Be Me out there. And yeah, in fact, Fark just thing in it's Stop the Child Murder. It was Stop the Kindermord was the one of the initiatives that took place in the 70s in the Netherlands. And yeah, it's tough, and because we haven't really seen that level of commitment here in the United States, but ultimately, and that's what Fark just pointed out, it's getting better. I think that also we need a bit more of a sense of urgency to move this stuff forward quicker and get it going.
and to
So
support what you're saying and what Fark's saying, the number one leading cause of death of our youth is traffic violence. So we need to, it's time, and I think people are ready. And like I said, I have seen a lot of interest and genuine interest from different people in different leadership roles, and I think we're ready
yeah.
and we're working. So
Yeah, it's exciting to see it. Trini, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
now,
Yay.
Yeah.
bye.
All right. Well, hey, Ryan, I'm going to pause just for a little bit here to if anybody has any last minute questions before we kind of wrap it up. I think I do have a question here, and let me pull this up. And I don't really know what those numbers. Oh, the bill number from Trini. That is a good question, Trini. If you're still out there, maybe you can comment on that. And
It was
we
five
can go that.
something.
Yeah, that's great. And we've got Preston Tyree here in the Austin area, and he just chimed in. He also knows Trini. Thank you very
Hi,
much,
Preston.
Preston. And Jacob has just pulled in. And yeah, if anybody else has any other questions, let us know. We can definitely get you in on that. Pulled in. And yeah, if anybody else has any other questions, let us know. We can definitely get you in on that. Pulled in. And yeah, if anybody else has any other questions, let us know.
What's happening?
Hey Trini, I think your volume's up. If you can turn your volume down. There you go. All right, I'm going to bring Trini back in here. So she's so this is going to be the answer to the question on the bill. Okay. There you go.
I'm sorry.
Right, I'm going to bring Trini back in here. So she's so this is going to be the answer to the question on the bill. Okay.
So it's the zero traffic
There you
death
go.
resolution.
Sorry, I'm going to bring Trini back in here. So she's so this is going to be the answer to the question on the bill. Okay.
So it's the zero traffic
There you
death
go.
resolution.
Sorry, I'm going to bring Trini back in here.
Oh, I don't know what's
She's,
happening.
so this is going to be the answer to the question on the bill. Okay, Trini, why don't you do this? Why don't you go ahead and just type it into the comments? You can go over into YouTube and just type it into comments over there. Yeah. All right, that's great. And let's see, I'm gonna go through here and just make what else do we have here from Doug? Doug's got some other good stuff about yes, absolutely. Get out onto Wikipedia and start contributing to some of this stuff. Absolutely. And Fark is like, yeah, keep it up. This stuff is not easy for sure. For sure. And there's Mr. MRC out of Salt Lake City. Yes, absolutely. There's a glitch in the Matrix for sure. Well, hey, everyone, thank you so very much for doing that. I think Trini was gonna get that typed in. And if not, we'll put that information into the show notes, the description for this video when it gets out on YouTube, so that you can always come back and do that. In fact, we'll have some links out there. We can take care of that. It's a more efficient way to do that. So, oh yeah. So Trini says it's House Resolution 565. Senate is 321. So very good. And yes, and Vicky says, Merry Christmas, John and Laura. Thank you very much, Vicky. Merry Christmas to you and Bruce there in Boulder. And I think it's time to bring up our final scene here and dance our way out. And Trini does say that it's the zero traffic deaths resolution. And thank you so very, very much for this. And yeah, and thank you to Fark. I really appreciate you tuning in here. And there we go.
Thank you,
everyone.
This is so fun.
Ryan, thank you so much for joining me. Absolutely awesome.
Ooh, I'm cold.
We didn't even get to talk about your future things, so we're going to have you back on, and we'll talk about what's up for 2022.
This was super fun. I really appreciate it.
Hey, really, really glad that you're able to do it.
Yeah.
Love it, man.
How long do we do this for?
Till the end of the song.
Oh, the whole song. Okay, all right.
Hey, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. We really, really appreciate it. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Really appreciate it. Stay safe out there. Get out on your bikes. Have fun. You know, it's
And no crashies.
That's right. Hey, send us off with the what is it? No crashies.
No crashies, no flatties, no whammies. No whammies in 2022. How's that?
There you go. No whammies in 2022. Love it. Hey, thank you very much, Jacob. Appreciate it. And this is John signing off by wishing you much activity, happiness. Cheers. Appreciate it. Woohoo!
John.
Bye, guys. Woohoo!